We make way for Daniel Jeremiah, Chargers radio analyst and network analyst at NFL. Daniel, your reaction when the Chargers got Jim Harbaugh was what?
Was excitement. I mean, look, I think he brings excitement everywhere he goes. He's won everywhere he's gone. I was in the driveway playing horse with my son, and my phone started blowing up from all my friends that I grew up with that are lifelong Charger fans. I'll tell you, my dad, who grew up in Ohio and has been out here in Southern California for 40 years, has been a huge Charger fan. He was very excited on multiple levels that Jim Harbaugh got that job. So he's been a lifelong Buckeye fan and a longtime Charger fan. So he literally had the best day yesterday.
Okay, what is the team getting with Jim Harbaugh?
Well, you're getting a couple things. Obviously, you're getting identity. Every team he coaches, wherever he's been, has been a tough, physical line of scrimmage team. So you're getting toughness. The other thing that you're getting somebody who's going to get it up and running and is going to establish accountability early. I remember going up there to Stanford. I was scouting at that time when he got that job. And I remember in that press conference, I think somebody asked a question about USC, and he wasn't. There was no deference there. There was no, hey, we're just going to build our. He was like, we're ready to go against them right now. And all of us scouts, we laughed, Dan. We were like, he's crazy. Like, does he know how bad Stanford is? Does he know how hard it is to get players into Stanford? Like, we've heard this for years, for decades. And the guy went in there and beat him the first year. What, like 40-point underdogs? Yeah. Like it. People can think whatever they want. He brings energy, enthusiasm, and the guy wins.
What is Harbaugh getting with this roster with the Chargers? What's he get himself into?
Well, look, it's not a perfect roster, but you've got a great quarterback. You've got a franchise left tackle. You've got two pass rushers that, you got to keep them healthy. They got to figure out what they want to do salary cap wise. Derwin James is a special player. Keenan Allen's still an elite receiver. Like, there's a lot of pieces in place there. I would imagine he's going to want to come in there and really kind of, put more resources into the offense and defensive line. They're going to need tight ends. I mean, it's not a 1-year fix with some of the holes there to get it to where he wants it to be. But I think Justin Herbert is going to have less on his plate, which is going to be a good thing. When he had Andrew Luck, how tempting would it have been for most play callers to say, we're going to throw it 50 times a game. This is the best quarterback in college football, and it's not even close. And he didn't do that. He ran the ball. They were physical, and they asked Andrew Luck to kind of make those handful of plays. So I don't know if you were talking about the MVP before I came on. I don't know if Herbert's going to throw for 5,000 yards with Jim Harbaugh, but he's going to be very efficient and he's going to win. That's I don't know how that gets you to MVPs, but it's going to get you a lot more success in the playoffs.
Well, you got to be, the MVP comes from the first seed or the second seed in your conference. I mean, you have to be either the number 1 or number 2 seed. And if they get there and Herbert's your quarterback and plays well, because I don't know if Jim treats Justin Herbert the way he did J.J. McCarthy at Michigan. Because here's McCarthy expected to be a first-round draft pick, and you watch that Penn State game, they didn't even ask him to do anything. They just ran the football the whole time. Is the NFL now for Jim, is it the same when Jim was at San Francisco? Can you still have the same kind of philosophy?
I still think you can play the way he played at San Francisco, provided you had what they had. I mean, that offensive line, defensive line were outstanding with San Francisco. That afforded him the luxury to play that way. Very few teams have that. I mean, I was watching the Niners game last week, and, I thought, man, I know that they ended up winning that game and Purdy ended up making plays late, but I'm watching that game going, you can just turn around and give it to McCaffrey and win this particular football game. And, they didn't choose to do that, but I still think they had a team that could do that. I think that's the goal that they'll want to get to that point here.
And also being relevant in Los Angeles, because even though the Chargers had a potential marquee quarterback, great uniforms, they're, down the depth chart as far as must-see TV or even must-attend. Harbaugh is a reason, like now all of a sudden, there's something there. I don't know if it's enough right now, but having Harbaugh's philosophy or culture there, I wonder what that does to the LA market.
I think it'll bring enthusiasm. It's a winner's town. I mean, you've got to win to draw any attention, and it helps to have some personality. And when you look at the Rams and Sean McVay and what he's brought, I mean, he's an incredible coach who's brought consistent winning, and he has a personality about him too. Jim's different, but I think you get a lot of those same perks of guy who's going to come in and win. He's going to stand out because of who he is and how he handles himself, which I think is a chance to make a dent in the market. It's, there's a lot of teams there. You're competing with a lot of different teams for eyeballs, but there's also a heck of a lot of people there. So I think there is room to see this thing grow as it goes forward.
We're talking to Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network analyst, also host of Move the Sticks podcast with Rhett Lewis and Bucky Brooks, available wherever you get your podcast. Who was the backup plan if Harbaugh didn't go?
I would have been shocked if it wasn't Harbaugh. If it would, I would expect Vrabel would have been the choice. It just feels like they needed to go get an established kind of brand.
Like Pete Carroll wouldn't have been on their radar?
Well, I think, look, as a coach, absolutely in the area, it would have been a very popular move. I don't know where, with the difference in age between him and Vrabel. I know Vrabel hasn't had the success that Pete's had, but he still has, he comes with a culture and an identity and has won a lot of games. I think that would have been my guess is what the fallback plan would have been.
When do you start breaking down quarterbacks for the NFL draft?
Oh, come on, Dan. We're there, man. We're at that point. So I've been doing a lot of that. I actually watched a lot of JJ McCarthy yesterday. So those top 5 guys I'm pretty versed on.
Okay, how many quarterbacks do you think will be taken in the first round?
I would say 3 are going to go in the first 3 picks. I'd be shocked if we don't go quarterback. And then after that, I think you're going to get a guaranteed 4th, however people sort that out. I think there's 6 candidates. I'll say there'll be 5, and one of them will go to the second.
Okay. Michael Penix might slip here.
He would be the 6th for me. When you put those guys all together, I think there's the 2 interesting debates to me in this. I think most teams will have Caleb. Just the talent is so off the charts. They'll have him 1. I think there's going to be a real good debate between Drake May and Jaden Daniels. That's going to take us all the way to the draft. And I think that the next tier between JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix, I think is going to be a really interesting debate with all the differences in age, but experience and different play styles, what was put on their play. Those are going to be fascinating discussions.
If the Bears called you, what would you say?
We're taking Caleb Williams.
Okay.
Look, Dan, we'll answer this question. Justin Fields, would you argue, is the 4th best quarterback in that division?
Yeah.
Assuming Kirk Cousins came back, he's the 4th quarterback.
Yeah.
So my thing is, look, there's no such thing as a draft pick without risk. But I would say if you took Caleb Williams, you got to develop him, put the pieces in place and make it happen. I would say you go from having the 4th best quarterback in the division to having the most talented quarterback in the division. You've got to put it all together. It's not a finished product there. There's development. But in terms of talent, Caleb Williams is more talented than any of those other 3 quarterbacks.
I'm curious about Justin Fields, that if I'm the Falcons, it's not going to cost me much. Would that be somebody that – but I don't know if Belichick takes that job or whoever takes that job, but where's Justin Fields going to end up here?
Well, I think that'd be my number 1 spot.
Atlanta?
And, I think it is. And I need to be careful, make sure that I don't forget to say this too. Justin's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's a starting caliber quarterback who's gotten better throughout his career. But I think when you stack him up in that division,
that didn't sound like a great compliment there, Daniel.
Well, no, I think that people say that you either are the starting quarterback of the Bears or you're going to be, you're going to get traded for a 5th round pick and go be a backup somewhere else. Like there's teams that don't have a quarterback as good as Justin Fields, and there's more than one.
Okay. I think Atlanta would be a great spot for him. I think that young team, and just let him go. You're playing half your games indoors on turf, and let's just go. Because I thought if Arizona moved on from Kyler Murray, that would have been another place. I want to take advantage of what I have. Bijan Robinson, you got a couple of good receivers there. And taking over a team that has underachieved, I think but I don't even know if they're going to give it to Belichick.
Well, just try to imagine, Dan, just close your eyes and imagine you had an ultra athletic quarterback in Atlanta. I mean, what could that look like? We've never seen it before. Just let your imagination go.
Yeah. A right-handed athletic quarterback in Atlanta.
Just looking in the mirror. He's just looking in the mirror.
True.
It's the other hand.
Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you, Dan.
All right. That's Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network analyst, and he works for the Chargers on radio as well.